Why in the world are we practicing adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing? That stuff's from like elementary school. And we've got calculators, for goodness sakes. Geez, Mr. Irwin, come on. Don't ever talk to me like that. The reason we're talking about basic arithmetic, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, is because the better that you understand them, the easier algebra can be. It doesn't make it simple, but it helps. The main idea is to have a good sense of numbers, what they are, how they're related, and what we can do with them. So if you take a little bit of time now to make sure you're comfortable with adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, the better your experience in this course will be, and the better your experience in algebra next year will be. Let's start with addition. We can think about it in a couple of different ways. The easiest is accumulation, which means I start with some amount and then I add more to it. Take these markers, for example. I start with 3 markers and I want to add to them. I add a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. And now I have 7 markers. That's addition. You can also think about it as sliding along a number line. If I start at 3 and want to add 4, then I'll slide 4 units to the right on the number line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm at 7. Subtraction is just the reverse of addition. So let's say this time I have 8 markers, and I want to subtract 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm left with 3 markers. Or on the number line, I start at 8, subtract 5, so I'll slide 5 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I end up at 3. Let's do multiplication next. The most common phrase that gets thrown around for multiplication is repeated addition, but it might be better to say repeated addition of groups. So when we say 2 times 3, for example, we're saying we have 2 groups of 3 items. So I have one group of 3 markers here, and I have a second group of 3 markers here. That's 2 groups of 3 markers each. So in total, I have 6 markers. So 2 times 3 is 6. On a number line, it might look something like this. Starting at 0, I have one group of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I have a second group of 3. 1, 2, 3. So now I have 2 groups of 3 items. In total, that's 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Division is just the reverse of multiplication. Let's take those 8 markers again. Let's say I want to divide them into 2 groups. So I want to take 8 divided by 2. If I take these 8 markers and split them into 2 equal groups, how many markers are in each of those groups individually? Not all together, in their individual groups. I now have 4 markers in each group. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So division isn't looking at all the items in all the groups. Division is looking at how many items are in each of the groups individually. Now when you get to your work and your practice and you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, you're probably going to pull out your calculator. And that's okay. But it's still important to have some idea of what the calculator is doing. Ultimately, a good sense of numbers will be immensely helpful in the more complex math, like algebra. So it's worth it to take the time and to do the practice to figure out and to feel comfortable with these basic operations. Don't ever talk to me like that.